In this lesson, or rather in the last lesson, we learned that x raised to power 2 means x multiplied by itself twice. But what happens when we multiply powers together? Today, we are preparing for one of the most powerful laws in mathematics. Expanding powers. Expanding powers. When we have x raised to power 2, this means x multiply x. Remember in the last lesson, I told you that in place of the multiplication sign x or times, the multiplication sign times, you can use dot. So in the last lesson, we saw that x raised to power 2 is equal to x dot x, and x raised to power 3 is x multiply itself 3 times. Remember, the index tells us how many times the base repeats. We saw in the last lesson that when you have x raised to power 2, the 2 on top is the index and the x is the base. When we have x raised to power 4, this means x times x times x times x. Expansion means writing out the repeated multiplication fully. So whenever you hear expansion or expanding of powers, we are writing out the repeated multiplication fully. What does this really mean? X raised to power 2 multiplied by x raised to power 3. What does this really mean? Let's expand both. Let's expand both. This will give us x dot x multiplied by x dot x dot x. When we combine, we will have x multiplied by x multiplied by x multiplied by x multiplied by x. Let's count. We have x raised to power 5. Notice something interesting. Notice something interesting. 2 plus 3 equal to 5. Let that sink. 2 plus 3 equal to 5. This is what I mean here. This one is 2. This one 3. 2 plus 3 equal to 5. Let that sink properly. Now let's build a pattern recognition. Let's build a pattern recognition. Build pattern recognition. When you have x raised to power 3 multiplied by x raised to power 4 and you expand it, when you expand, you will have x times x times x multiply x times x times x times x. Count total x's. Count the total x's. You will have 7 x's, which is x raised to power 7. What happened to the powers? What happened to the powers? Here we had 3 and here we had 4. The powers were added. What happened to the powers is that the powers were added. So we had what happened to the powers. Three plus 4 gave us 7. So we had x raised to power 2 multiply x raised to power 3 will give us x raised to power 5, and x raised to power 3 multiply x raised to power 4 give us x raised to power 7. So I want you to take note of the addition pattern. Take note of the addition pattern. When multiplying powers with the same base, the indices add. Take note again, when multiplying powers with the same base, the indices add. Let's introduce the general pattern. Introduce general pattern. X raised to power A multiplied by X raised to power B. That's the general pattern. If the bases are the same, we simply add the indices. So this becomes X raised to power A multiplied by X raised to power B becomes X raised to power A plus B. This is called the law of multiplication of indices. The law of multiplication of indices. All right. Law of multiplication of indices. There is an important warning here. Important warning. Important warning. When we have X raised to power 2 multiplied by Y raised to power 2. Okay, let's use Y raised to power 3. Can we add 2 plus 3? Can we add 2 plus 3? Can we add 2 plus 3? No, is the answer. Because the bases are different. The bases are different. This is why we cannot add. This base here is X, and this base here is Y. We cannot add 2 plus 3. So, what happens? X raised to power 2 multiply Y raised to power 3 stays as it is. In your final answer, they will stay as they are. Stays as it is. Take note of this. So you can only add powers when the base is the same. This prevents common mistakes. I would like you to try this. Try these questions. Pause and try. A raised to power 2 multiply A raised to power 5. B raised to power 3 multiply B raised to power 4. And number 3, M raised to power 1 multiply M raised to power 6. Now let's solve. The first one, A raised to power 2 multiply A raised to power 5 will give us A raised to power 7. A raised to power 7. And the second one, B raised to power 3 multiply B raised to power 4 will give B raised to power 7. And the third one, m raised to power 1 multiply m raised to power 6 will give m raised to power 7. So in summary, in this lesson, we have learnt as follows. Expanding powers are repeated multiplication. Expand powers as repeated multiplication. We also learned that count total factors, and we have also learned to add indices when bases are the same. When bases are the same. Add indices when bases are the same. This rule will make future questions much faster. In the next lesson, lesson 3, we will learn how division of powers works, and something surprising happens. Go to the comment section, comment ready, R-E-A-D-Y, comment ready at the comment section if you understood this lesson. This is exam math quiz where you solve faster and think smarter. Now we're ready to multiply